Hey, how's it going everyone? Tazen here, today bringing you some more awesome JRPG and gaming news. And kicking things off firstly, we've got an announcement from publishers XC Games and Marvelous Europe that Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2 will finally be coming to PS4 in North America and Europe. This is awesome. I've been waiting for this for a while since the PlayStation 4 versions came out in Japan, and then they've since seen number 3 come out in Japan, and number 4 also came out last week in Japan, which we'll talk about soon after. But going over some of the details, so we found out that they are both getting standalone releases. They won't be released as a bundle, but they'll be released as two separate awesome looking editions. So kicking things off with the first edition, The Legend of Heroes Trials of Cold Steel Decisive Edition. Now looking at the contents of this, so it comes with obviously the physical copy of the game. It comes with a 50 mirror replica collector's coin. It comes with a musical selection CD soundtrack containing 21 full-length tracks. That's an awesome number of soundtracks. Sometimes with selection soundtracks we usually get maybe 10 tracks or so. I think this is awesome that we're getting a lot more than that. We've got a steelbook case coming with just artwork on it, but as you can see it's got a separate sort of outer package or cover sleeve which goes over, and I love having those sort of cover sleeves on steelbooks. I sort of wish that collector's editions that came with steelbooks in them would also have cover sleeves on those steelbooks. Most often they don't. Usually it's the steelbooks that get released by itself has a cover sleeve on it. Now going over Legend of Heroes Trials of Cold Steel 2, this is the Relentless edition. So looking at the artwork here, looks absolutely awesome. This also obviously comes with a physical copy of the game. It comes with the Ouroboros emblem pin. It comes with a musical selection soundtrack also. This one features 23 full-length tracks. And it also comes with a steelbook featuring just the artwork and then a cover sleeve over it. I'm so excited. So firstly, these PlayStation 4 versions are the enhanced PC ports, which include a lot of new additions, some of which include obviously updated graphics, Japanese and English dual audio as an option, and also over 5,000 lines of newly voiced dialogue, which I think is awesome that we're getting these versions. Originally the PlayStation 3 and PS Vita versions did not look nearly as good as the current PC version, so this is awesome that we are getting them. And again, I really hope that if this does well, we do get number 3, and then we do get number 4, which I would like to talk about now. So Trials of Cold Steel number 4 came out on last week on the 27th of September. Now looking at the top 20 chart of sales for last week, and as we can see here, that for a game that has only been out for the second half of last week, Trials of Cold Steel number 4 is second on the top 20 charts with 85,161 sales. That is awesome to see it jump all the way to second, and again, you know, it's only been out for half of this last week to see it do so well. But also, I want to talk about a game that's come 9th on the top 20 chart, and that is the World Ends With You Final Remix. So this also got released last week in Japan, and this is apparently doing quite well. But what I want to talk about is Tetsuya Nomura commented on the possibility of The World Ends With You number 2. So just going over a comment that he said. So he said this: I've had a chance to attend various events in different countries during the 11 years following the release of The World Ends With You. On many occasions, I have been interviewed by both the fans and the media, who have told me how much they want me to make a sequel for The World Ends With You. We've been looking for an opportunity, and there were a few times we tried to get it started, but time passed without it ever coming to realization. It's also possible given all the work he was doing on, you know, Final Fantasy 15, which he then ended up not being a part of in the end, and Hajime Tabata took over, and then obviously he's been focusing on Kingdom Hearts 3. But continuing on with what he said, there are a number of implications behind this final remix version. In addition to my intention of making this my last time working on the original game, I think this is the final chance for creating a path to the next step, which I've had ideas about since the first launch 11 years ago. Many thanks to everyone for supporting ongoing efforts. So what this seems like is obviously he has had many ideas for a sequel for a long time now, since the original game, but it's very much dependent, at least from what this seems, on the sales of the final remix version. And this is obviously applying to worldwide sales, not just Japanese sales. So hopefully, if this game is well received, if you're interested in it and you get it and you support the game, we may see a sequel down the track. I think that's awesome to see, just that possibility. But regardless, I'm glad that this final remix is not just somewhat of its sort of remaster and port, but it has additions to it. It's got some extra content that can breathe life in a second playthrough of the game for people who've already played it, giving them more of a desire to pick this up if they've already got it on the DS like myself and have played it before. So now moving on to another game that is getting remastered, or I should say a collection of games, and that is the Grandia 1 and 2 HD Remastered collection coming to Switch. And we recently got some more information by our Gung Ho Online Entertainment about the additions, or I should say the enhancements to both games. So just kicking things off with Grandia 1, it will have enhanced details to UI, sprites and texture art. We'll have original cinematic videos receiving visual enhancements, that'll be awesome. Widescreen support and customizable resolutions for the PC. Additions of MSAA, bloom, normal mapping and blur effects, so we're looking at anti-aliasing and stuff, things to make the game look and feel better. Steam cards and achievements. Be interesting to see, whether we get achievements for the Switch, and I guess that's sort of something we're waiting to see. What sort of achievement system will be implicated into the Nintendo Switch. But going on, it will also include Japanese audio and English subtitles, so I'm assuming this will be dual audio options. It will include language support for English and Japanese. It will be digitally converted game manual. I think that's awesome. I wish that, given games don't come with physical manuals now, it would be great to see manuals actually be digitized, or we get some digital form of a manual in the game CDs or cartridges, as opposed to what I see now is like there's a link that you can click which takes you to a manual online. I prefer to have that at least digitally on the game card or disc. Going on, it'll be utilizing both the PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn source code, so it'll be interesting to see sort of how that all works. And it will allow gamepad and keyboard support with remappable controls. So again, a lot of these things discussing sort of the additions or the updates to the Steam version, and I'm assuming obviously quite a few of these will map into the Switch version too. We're going on to Grandia 2, which is already out on the PC, so these will be more likely upgrades to specifically the Switch version. And we can see it's also got a digitally converted game manual. It will be utilizing the Grandia 2 Anniversary Edition source code, which was originally based on the Sega Dreamcast source code. It will fix PC video audio sync and switch to X input. That's more of a PC thing, and I'm assuming obviously that will be fixed, or it won't be present the issue in the Switch version. It will add support to exit to title. I think that's important for many games. And also Japanese subtitles added for the Switch version. That's awesome. So again, that's really cool to see some of these sort of enhancements, and it's not just something that they're simply just sort of porting over bare bones. They're actually doing their best to make this the best, hopefully, Grandia experience for players new and old to the series. But now lastly, moving on to more sales regarding a game that's doing very well, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Torn of the Golden Country DLC have been garnering quite a lot of success, and it's actually surprised Takahashi, the director, how well it's doing outside of Japan and Europe and North America. So this is what he had to say. He said, "I really saw more people pick the game up and experience it in the North American and European territories." Then he thought, he also believes the sales in Japan are exceeding expectations, which is awesome. But then they asked the question, what does this mean for the Xenoblade Chronicles series? And he went on to mention that Xenoblade Chronicles, or something similar to Xenoblade Chronicles X, the fantasy settings are possible, but as well as a third option, and we know that Monolith Soft are working on a third new IP, so it'll be interesting to see sort of how that progresses, and whether we get more information on that. I would love to see them go back to the Baten Kaitos series, which I talked about recently. Then he lastly said, "I'm someone who gets bored of whatever it was I did last. If the series continues, you just might see it take a third option. It might go down a path it hasn't gone down before." So that's really interesting. So he's talking about this specifically in regards to the Xenoblade series. So we've seen games like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2. Although they have a large form of exploration, they are very much a strongly story-driven RPG series. Then we've got Xenoblade Chronicles X, which, although again they all share many elements, it was very much more an exploration-based story. You got to create your character avatar. He was a silent protagonist, so the story revolved around the characters, around the character or the avatar you created. Now, in regards to a third option, it'd be interesting to see what that means. Could that mean more so not just story-wise or elements of the setting, but could this take the gameplay down something that is more of an action RPG as opposed to the hybrid sort of turn-based action RPG that Xenoblade Chronicles has. This is something we also see in some vein in other MMORPGs. We've also seen something like Final Fantasy XII. So it would be cool to see, you know, would it go down something where you're basically having this real-time attacks, something like Kingdom Hearts 2, or would it go down something like a more traditional turn-based? I think that wouldn't be the case because that can sort of stunt or hinder your movement throughout the world if you're constantly going into turn-based battles. In games that are so open world and vast, I think the way that Xenoblade Chronicles works, with all its uniqueness in its gameplay, to have the action style battle system that allows you to select moves, rather like a turn-based system also, I think lends well to the uniqueness of the series. But to see it go down potentially a much more direct action RPG style, also like Final Fantasy 15, will be an interesting third option. But again, that's all up to them and sort of the inspiration they take and sort of the path they go down. But finally, I would also love to see the Xenosaga trilogy come to the Switch or even all consoles sometime down the track. It'd be great to get a remaster of that. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts below on anything I've discussed. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and until next video, stay spot on.